Are you ready for some more trees? Hey everyone, Cristin Song here, and oh boy, we are doing so great with Jingle All the Way. So we have all of sections 1, 2, and 3 complete, and yesterday we did the first set of the chenille trees, and I love them. They are so fun. I hope you did the chenille, because look at that. Doesn't that look so cool? Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed with these chenille trees. I think those were really fun. So we have 2 of the chenille trees if you decided to do both of them. And then we also have a whole bunch of other blocks for our future sections. So today we're going to do the other chenille block. So we did the triangle trees. So now we need to do the Whimsy trees. And I just want to remind you, do that chenille. Give it a try because that just looks so cool. I love that. Super, super, super fun. All right, so we are going to work on the next set of chenille trees, which is the Whimsy trees. So my Whimsy chenille trees. So mine are on page 6 of the oldest book. So depending on what book you have and what revision, then figure out where yours are. But you may not actually even need it because I'm going to tell you everything you need to know for these blocks. So don't worry too much. So there is one, I will have to say, hopefully in the later revision this was caught, but in my book there's an error on these trees. So it is, let's see, I'll tell you when we get there too, but basically it says that we are going to use the lattice fabric. It says that in the directions, it says the triangle and the Whimsy trees, but then in the photos, they didn't use the lattice fabric on the Whimsy trees. They used the green with the circles and flowers and stuff. So the photo is different than what the directions say, and the directions just say to use that lattice fabric. So I have to tell you, you can choose either one. So whether you caught that or not, it's not going to matter because you can't tell what fabric you have. So whether you use the one that's got the lattice design or the one that has the circles and the dots and all that, it's not going to matter. You cannot tell at all. So these, in fact, one was with lattice and one was with that other. And seriously, you can't tell. So it doesn't matter. All right, so whatever you already cut, go with that. And if you haven't cut yet, use either the lattice fabric or the circle dot one. I don't know what it's called. So, and I'll tell you where that is. Don't worry. So we're going to do 2 of these. We only need one for section 4. So you can do one later if you don't have time, or you can do both. It's totally up to you. The one that we need now is the one on the white fabric. All right, just so you know. And it's got the green doodle on the tree. So that's the one that we'll need first. So I'm going to go over that one. I'll go over both of them separately, but that is the one that we definitely need for section 4. All right. So let's just talk about what we need. So we're going to start with, this is the first of the Whimsy trees, and it is a white fabric with little tiny black dots on it. And it's a big piece of fabric. I think it's 8.5 by 10.5. Yep, 8.5 by 10.5 for this. So make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. Super important so you don't get puckering. All right, so 8.5 by 10.5 for our main fabric on our first Whimsy tree. All right, and I should do them separately. I didn't separate my fabrics. I kind of lumped them together because I'm going to do them both in one hooping, but you don't have to. That's up to you. All right, so the fabric for the trees on this one is going to be this light green doodle fabric. All right, and this, just like the other triangle trees, we want one piece that is stabilized, and then the other 3 we do not want them stabilized for sure. All right, so this is the one, one of these you will put stabilizer on it, and I do recommend doing that. So for one thing is it helps when you're cutting through those layers. This one is thicker and you can just feel, don't go through that layer, and it's pretty easy with the chenille, so don't worry too much. But one of them stabilized and the other 3 not stabilized, and we want 4 total, and they're going to be 5 by 5, 5 by 5. And if you saw yesterday's video, you saw that they were pretty close to the amount that we needed. And actually these are the Whimsy trees, so these shouldn't be a problem. But on the triangle ones, like, it came right pretty close to the edge. So I was going to suggest cutting it a little bit bigger, but actually on these Whimsy trees, they're smaller. So we should be okay. So 5 by 5, 4 pieces total, 1 stabilized and 3 not stabilized. Those are the ones we will chenille, and it's pretty much impossible if you stabilize it. So don't stabilize those 3. All right. That is for the tree on the white fabric. All right. And then we have, let's talk about this. So for the pot on this one, it is going to be the red with big white dots. All right. This is the pot for the Christmas tree. Okay. And this one is going to be, I think, 2.5. Let's see. 2.5 by 2.5. All right. And it's an applique piece, so it's up to you whether you stabilize it or not. I did 2.5 by 2.5, one piece. This is for the pot for the Christmas tree, for the one Whimsy tree that we do need today. All right, and then for the star, it is the yellow scroll fabric, just like the other triangle trees that we did. A yellow scroll fabric in 2.5 by 2.5. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. That's up to you. 2.5 by 2.5 for the star fabric. All right, and that's it for that one. Batting. Let's talk about batting. So the batting is going to be 7 by 9. 7 by 9 for your batting. That means our final cut size will be 6.5 by 8.5. So make sure you've got a piece of batting that is 7 by 9. All right, and then we're going to quilt it. So just like the other one, I did one in Christmas lights and one in Christmas ornaments. I'm going to do that same, but it's totally up to you. You can use any quilting design that you want that is 6 by 8, and you can do them the same or you can do them a little different, whatever works for you. And if you saw yesterday's tutorial, I used variegated thread. That was really fun. It was a very last minute decision to do that. So I think that came out really fun to have that quilting be in a variegated thread. So I will add a link here to my Amazon storefront that will show you where you can get the thread that I used or other supplies that you need, all right, in my Amazon storefront. All right, so that's the first one. Oh, by the way, so I'm going to use on this one, I have to think of which one I used on the other. I think I'm going to use the ornaments on this one because I think I used the Christmas bulbs. I have to check. Let's see. It's right here. Let me look. So these are going to be next to each other. This one will be next to the white one, the new one that we're working on today. So I used the ornaments on this one. So I'm going to use the Christmas lights. That's the one I'm going to use on this one. All right. So the ornaments is Christmas 14, and that's one that I bought separate. It's not part of the Jingle All the Way quilting bundle, but I thought it was really cute and I love how it came out, and I did it on a variegated thread, so it's really, really cute. I thought that was really fun to have the ornament. So I'm going to have the ornaments on this white one, all right, the white background fabric, and on the other one I will do the Christmas lights again. So let's go ahead and talk about the second one. So again, we need the white one. When I say white, it's the background, all right. We need this one for today. But if you have time to do both, save some work later down the road, you can work on both of them like I'm going to. All right, so on the second one, our main fabric is this red with white stripes, and we used this on one of our triangle blocks, triangle trees as well. So notice it is directional. You choose what works for you. In the book, it does show it where the lines are going horizontally. All right, 8.5 by 10.5 for your main fabric. This is for the second Chenille Whimsy tree. Make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. Very important on these big fabrics, and really anytime you have a main background fabric, you should stabilize it. All right, so 8.5 by 10.5 for this main fabric. And then for our tree on this one, so remember I said that there's a mistake in the book, so really it's up to you. You can use the lattice fabric, and the lattice fabric is in place. So if you got from our sponsor, I think it was the lines. I'm pretty sure it was lines. I should check real quick. Hold on one sec. All right, so the replacement for this fabric, if you bought from our sponsor recently, if you bought from years ago, then you would have this lattice fabric. If you bought recently, then you would have the lines fabric. That's what our sponsor, Oma Darling, substituted for this fabric. So either of these will be great. You want 4 pieces at 5 by 5, 4 pieces. And remember, one of them is going to be stabilized and the other 3 will not. All right, those are the ones we're going to chenille. So 4 pieces total, 1 stabilized, 3 not, and 5 by 5 size, and it can be this or this one, or if you're going by what the picture shows versus the wording in the book, then you would have, what was it? The one with the lines and the dots and all of that. Let's see. Nope, I don't have that one handy because I didn't use that one. I used the lattice. All right. So, but if you are going by the picture that's in the book, the picture in the book shows the one, it's a green. In fact, we used it on, well, I can't show you because it doesn't show on the chenille. That's why I was saying it really doesn't matter which of these fabrics that you use. But the one, it was the green with the circles and the dots and flower looking fabric. So that one is what's shown in the picture. And the replacement from our sponsor for that fabric was this tufted fabric. All right, so similar to yesterday, but again, I just went by the wording, so I'm using that. But here, if you can see this is the fabric I'm talking about. All right, this is what I was saying, that the photo shows this, but in the wording, it shows that we're supposed to use the lattice fabric. It says lattice, triangle, and whimsy trees. And again, this is on the oldest version, so your book may have already been updated. They may have already caught that, and it's not going to matter one way or the other because the fabrics, once they're chenille, it doesn't look any different. All right, these are two totally different fabrics and you wouldn't know it. All right, so it really doesn't matter. So like I said, I'm going to use the lattice fabric. The substitute from our sponsor is the lines, all right? Or you could use the tufted that came from our sponsor as well. Any of those will work great, all right? So then for the pot on this one, the pot on the second whimsy tree is going to be the black with white dots. All right, black with white dots. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. That's up to you. It is an applique piece, 2.5 by 2.5. All right, 2.5 by 2.5 for the pot on the second whimsy tree. And then the star, same one as before. It's the yellow scroll fabric. I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. It's an applique piece, so totally up to you, 2.5 by 2.5. All right, and then batting, once again, 7 by 9 for the second whimsy tree. You want a piece of batting that is 7 by 9. And then for your quilting design, any quilting design that you want, that is 6 by 8. Any quilting design that's 6 by 8. This is not the one that's going to be next to it, the other chenille tree. So on this one, I'm going to use the Christmas lights. Which one is that? It is Christmas 4. And I think that's in the Jingle All the Way bundle. So if you have that, if you purchase that bundle for this quilt, use that. Great option. So I did use a variegated thread. Hard to see on camera here, very hard to see, my goodness, but it's pretty cute in person with the variegated thread on the red fabric. It's a little bit hard to see, but it's pretty darn cute, the lights. So lights with variegated or without, either way will be super cute. All right, and that's all we need for today. Like I said, I'm going to join 2 of these in one hooping to save on time and get us a little ahead once we get to those later sections. So I'm going to bring you over to the computer and show you how to do that. Hey everyone, I'm at my computer now and I'm going to quickly show you how to merge those 2 whimsy trees together in one hooping if you choose. So I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials. That is the embroidery software that I recommend. So we'll start by looking down here at the bottom and it'll tell you what hoop size you're on. You can see I'm on my 9x14 hoop, and actually that's what I want. I haven't done the update yet. I need to do that. I just haven't taken the time to do it, but at some point I will do that. So let's see. So I'm on my 9x14 hoop. If you're not on the hoop size you want, come up here to this preferences folder, click on that, click on the hoop size that you want, say okay, and then come up to this compass button and click H for hoop. All right, and then I'm going to start by bringing in the first quilting design. So one of these is on white fabric and one is on red and white fabric. So keep that in mind when you're choosing if you want to merge those together. I don't. I want them separate so that I can decide my thread color when I get there. Okay, I'm going to start by bringing in the ornament design first. That's on my secondary one. I want the one that we need for section 4 to be the one with the lights on it, because I've got the ornament one will be next to it, and so I want it to be a little bit different. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look for this is the ornament one. Yep, perfect. All right, so I'm going to bring in that one first so that it's up at the top of the hoop, and then the lower part of the hoop will be the one that we're going to work on for section 4. All right, so 6x8 right there. There's the 6x8 quilting design. Click on it, whatever quilting design you're using, 6x8. Click on it and drag it over to your workspace. All right, and that one is over there. And so now we need to rotate it to fit in our hoop to get 2-in-1 hooping. So click on the design and then click on one of these arrow keys, whatever one works for you. I'm going to go ahead and click on the Whimsy tree is kind of the same size on both sides. It doesn't matter. So I'm just going to hit the left arrow key, and then I'm going to click outside so nothing's selected. Click back on that design so that I can move it up. For some reason, once you rotate it, it doesn't let you click on this. So I'm just doing it. Click outside, then click back on it to make that work. All right, so that one's perfect. So I need to change these colors so that some parts will join and some parts will not. So I'm going to click outside so nothing is selected and click on 1-1. And then down here in the properties window, I'm going to click on this color and I'm going to choose the first color that comes up for me, which is dark aqua, and say okay. And then 1-2, click on the color. I want the first color that comes up for me, which is blaze. And then 1-3, click on the color, and I already used dark aqua, so I'm going to use the second color down, which is marine. And then 1-4, click on the color, I'm going to choose Oriole. And then 1-5, click on the color, and I'm going to choose Sprout. Now remember, it doesn't matter what thread color you use, it's just easiest if you do the first one. And since Fil-Tec Glide is my preferred colors, that's what's coming up first for me. So again, it doesn't matter. Just choose a color to make it easy. All right, so that parts will join and parts will not. So that one is done. Click outside so nothing is selected. And now I'm going to bring in the next quilting design. So you can go to merge stitch file, or if you have your folder handy, you can bring it over like I did just a moment ago. So I'm on this one, I'm going to use the ornaments. No, I already did the ornaments. Sorry, my mistake. I'm going to use Jingle All the Way, and I'm going to use Christmas 4, embroidery files, block by block. Pez is what I use for my machine, and I want a 6x8. Right there, 6x8. Click on that, drag it over. It will go to the center. I'm going to shrink that down. All right, so click on that design. And then we're going to rotate it. So I'm going to hit that left arrow key, and then I'm going to click outside so nothing's selected and back onto those lights. And then I'm going to use the arrow key on my keyboard to bring the design down. And I want to just get as much space in between these two designs as I can. And you can always check. So you can come up to this compass, move this crosshair around, and look at, I'm right on it there, and I can go down just a tiny bit on that second one. All right, so I can click on that design and I can just hit down on my arrow key one more time. So it gives me a little bit of space in between. I still have to be careful of the overlap, but not too bad. All right, so I'm going to click on 2-1, click on the color, and I want the same colors. The parts that I want to join, I want to have be the same color. So I'm going to choose dark aqua. This is for the batting placement stitch. And then 2-2, click on the color, and I want blaze, just like we used up here. You can see them up here always. All right, and then 2-3, click on the color, I want marine. And 2-4, click on the color, and I want Oriole. And then I want a different color here. I want it to stop so that I can decide, since one fabric is white and one is red and white, I want to be able to decide what thread color I want rather than having that merged together. So I'm going to click on 2-5, click on the color, and I want the second color down, which for me is sea green. Say okay. Those two are done. Perfect. Now we need to bring in those Whimsy trees. So again, you can go to merge stitch file, or if you have your folder handy, you can open up that folder. Where am I? Excuse Archer's shaking. All right, so I'm going to go to, let's see, Jingle All the Way, embroidery files, Pez, and I'm looking for the Whimsy tree right there. There's the 4x4. Don't forget, I mentioned this yesterday. We want the 5x7 one, so make sure to scroll down further when you see that first tree. You don't want that one just yet. We want a bigger one, 5x7 chenille tree. All right, so grab it, drag it over to your workspace, and then I'm done with that, so I'm going to close that folder. Now on this one, we need to make some changes so that, because you can see all that cyan and orange is going to join together. And then we have one pot for the Christmas tree that's going to be red, and one of them that is going to be black. So we want to change the color on that as well. I didn't catch that yesterday. All right, so as you can see, we've got all these cyan and oranges. So we want to make sure to change those colors so that they don't join together. And same with this pot. One of them is red and one of them is black. And I didn't catch that yesterday, so I had to watch my machine and tell it to stop. So make sure we're going to change this also when we get to the satin stitching. All right, so while we're here, I'm going to go ahead and click outside so nothing is selected. And then that first brown, we can keep that as is because it's going to be the same on both trees, so we don't need to worry about that. And then we start with these cyan and oranges. So I'm going to click on this and 3-2, it's 3-2, design 3, and then the second part, and click on, in the properties window, click on that color. And we already used marine in our quilting, so we definitely don't want that. I'm going to use the next color down, which for me is Hawaiian blue, and say okay. And then 3-3, click on the color, and I'm going to choose Halloween. We just had Halloween. And then 3-4, click on the color, and I'm going to choose, let's see, we did Hawaiian blue, so I'm going to choose Mercury, the next color down. And then 3-5, click on the color, and I already used Halloween. I'm going to use Butterscotch. And then we are at the applique pieces for the star. So same thing, we want to make sure that those don't join together. We don't want that cyan and orange again, although now we don't have it anywhere. You could keep it. I'm just going to keep with this flow here. So I'm on 3-6, and I already used Mercury was the last one, so I'm going to do tropical, say okay, and then 3-7, click on the color, and I used Halloween and Butterscotch, so I'm going to use bronze. All right, and then here's where I was saying that I initially thought, oh, well, we're going to put 2 pots down. Well, one is red and one is black, so make sure to stop it. So you want to have a different color on these 2 trees, and you'll see when we get there. And actually, we can go ahead and keep this red and green and yellow. We can keep those for now, and we'll just change it on the second one. All right, and there's the black. That is our chenille stitches. So this one is done. We don't have black anywhere else, so we're good. So I'm going to click outside so nothing is selected. Click back on just that design. Make sure you have just the tree. If it's hard to get it, you can click on the first part up here, and that will get all of the design. So I'm going to... I could move it first. I'm not going to bother. I'm going to say Control C to copy, and then Control V like victory to paste. And it goes right on top of that first one. You can see it if we grab it and move it. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. So on the first one, that one is all done and ready. I'm going to go ahead and rotate it, and from this little left blue arrow key, and I'm going to bring it up and just haphazardly put it up in this quilting design. All right, it doesn't have to be perfect because we'll do an align and distribute. So that one's done. I'm going to click on these to close them so I can see more. So now I'm on this fourth one. All right, now here's where we got to just check and make sure, because we know that we want those to join together. That's fine. And then we purposely changed all of these placement and tack down stitches so that they would join. So that's all perfect. But this red right here, and also if you're going to do your tree in a different color, you could change the satin stitch of your tree as well, now that I think about it, because one of them is in a darker green and one of them is a lighter green, and we have 3 shades of green for our thread kit for Jingle All the Way. So I'm going to change this too. So we want to click on 4-8 because we have, if we look in here, I'm going to click here. So 3-8, we've got that will come red and will come 3 green. So we want to change those so they don't join. The yellow is fine because we're using the same fabric on both, but this red and the green, you can choose to make a stop. And to do that, you just change the color. So when I'm on 4-8, I'm going to click down here in this properties window, and I'm just going to choose a different red so that it will stop. So I'm going to choose Monarch. That's the first color that comes up for me, and say okay. And then 4-9, again, you can have the same green color if you choose. It doesn't matter at all. I'm going to do a little lighter one. So I'm going to change the satin stitch of this one, or it's a decorative stitch actually. I'm going to change it to turf, the first color that comes up for me, just so I have the option of changing my thread color if I choose. And then that yellow is fine to merge, and that black for the chenille. So that's all good. Click outside so nothing is selected, then click on the whole design. Make sure you've got all the parts of it. And I'm going to hit this blue arrow key to rotate it. And then again, I just want to grab it and bring it somewhere in this quilting design. All right, and making sure the red one is the one with the, oh, they're both, one's red, one's black. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so this is good. All right, click outside so nothing is selected. I'm going to close up these designs so that I can see them all because we want to do an align and distribute before we do our color sort. So I'm going to click on one, that's the first quilting design, and then I'm going to use my finger to hold down the control button on my keyboard and keep holding it down while I click on number 3, which is that first Whimsy tree. All right, and from there, I want to go to Utility, Align and Distribute, and I'm going to say Center, Center, and then when I hit Apply, watch how the tree will move to make sure it's centered within that quilting design. Say Apply, and you saw it moved quite a bit, so we were far off on that one, so good thing we have that Align and Distribute function. All right, then I'm going to say Close, and I'm just going to check it because I want to just see it. There's no reason for it, but I want to. Because sometimes it will move the whole, if you bring your tree to like here, if it's in the center, then it's going to bring that quilting design down too. And we need that space in between. That's why I put it pretty close to the middle of that design just to make sure that the whole design doesn't move. And you can always check it by clicking on that compass button there, and you can see that it's still lined up close to the hoop. So that's perfect. All right, and then click back here to the H for hoop. All right, so click outside so nothing is selected. Now we want to click on number 2, quilting design. Hit that control button on your keyboard and hold it down while you click on number 4. So we have 2 and 4 both selected, and then go to Utility, Align and Distribute, Center, Center, Apply. And you saw it moved over to the right and up a little bit. So that's perfect. So those are now aligned perfectly within the quilting design, and we've got our colors sorted the way that we want them. So now we need to do that official color sort so that the parts will join and parts will not. So we have 32 color steps right now. So I'm going to go to Utility, Color Sort. First, make sure everything is lined up how you want it, because once you do that, you can't do a color sort. You can't move them afterwards. All right, so it says it's reduced it by 11 color changes. Click New View so it opens another tab. We can always come back to this first one if we think it didn't come out the way we wanted it to. But in this new tab, everything's in one design. So I'm going to open this up and just check it really carefully to make sure it's got what I want. So 1-1 is the placement for our batting, and that's perfect together. And tack down for the batting, placement for the main fabric, tack down for the main fabric, and then we have the first quilting design and the second quilting design. Remember, I did not want those to join together so that I can choose my thread color later. All right, then we have the tree trunk. Those are joined together, so that's perfect. And then we have our placement stitch for the pot and a tack down stitch for the pot. And then we jump to the placement stitch for the tree. That's that first one piece, not all the 4, just the first one, the one that stabilizes is going to go down there. And then our tack down of that. And then our placement stitch for the star and our tack down stitch for the star. And then we have the first pot, which is going to be the black one. You could change it to black if you find it confusing, but there is black later. You have to remember that. Here's a black, so you don't want those to join. So whatever works for you. So there's the first pot, and then we have, so it's going to jump into the next tree. So what you can do, this is what I'm going to do. I want to work on the same parts at the same time. So I'm going to bring this up. So on this 118, and you don't have to do this, but then you're kind of going back and forth because since we didn't join these, it separated. So you're working on all of one block and then the second block, and I'd rather work on them together to save on time. So I'm going to go ahead, and even though it's not really saving time because you're changing thread colors, but I still want to keep it all with the same flow. So what I'm going to do, you can either right click and say move earlier and do that a few times, or you can click on the picture. If you click on the wording, it doesn't work, but if you click on the picture, you can then grab it and bring it up. All right, and then if it doesn't go all the way, like mine didn't go all the way up, then I can right click on it and say move earlier. All right, so then I've got my first the pot of the tree and then the second pot of the tree, and there is a stop in between there so that I can change my thread color, but I'd like them to be together, and that's just personal choice. All right, and then it's going to run that first quilting or the first tree decorative stitch. I want the second tree decorative stitch to go next, so I'm just going to bring that up. All right, and that worked great. So there's the first one and the second one. And then same thing with the stars. I want my stars to be together. And actually, since we're doing that, then we can do another color sort so that the parts, because this yellow and black are not together, and they should be in my opinion. So I'm going to right click on that and say move earlier. What happened? That didn't work. I'm going to click outside so nothing's selected. Click on that 120, the second star, and say move earlier. There it goes. All right, so I think it did. It moved. I must have, I'm going to fix that. So what happened is I was still clicked on that tree decorative stitch when I said move earlier. That's my mistake. All right, so we have that first tree decorative stitch, the second tree decorative stitch, and then both of the stars. And we can make those join together. And actually, I don't think you have to do a color sort. I think it will automatically, but I'm going to do it anyway. And then we have that first chenille stitching and the second chenille stitching. So this is great. We're down to 21 steps, but we can bring it down, I think, a little bit more. So I'm going to do another color sort now that I've got these arranged in the way that I want them. So I'm going to say utility color sort, and I think it'll say it has reduced it but didn't change the number. I think it says something like that. But keep in mind, we have 21 steps right now. So a utility color sort. And it thinks, and it says design page has been sorted but not reduced, and that's fine. We will need to check it again to be sure. Don't forget, I forgot to mention earlier, you want to have these same settings that I have to get the same results, tolerance at 0. So I'm going to click New View. It opens a third tab now, and I'm just going to very quickly. So we have placement, tack down, quilting, the tree trunk, the pot placement, pot placement, pot tack down. There it is. All right, and tree placement, tree tack down, and star placement, star tack down, and then the first pot, second pot, tree, and then we have the stars joined together now, and the chenille pieces together now. So click outside. You can see it did reduce it. We're down to 19 steps now. So this is perfect. This is exactly what I want to happen. So I'm going to say File, Save Stitch File As. Don't forget, always do as. I'm going to get back to Pez, and I'm going to go to my desktop and Jingle All the Way. There we go. And then our embroidery files. Pez is what I use. And I'm going to name this Whimsy Tree ×2. Name it whatever will help you to remember what you made and how to find it. It will ask you where you want it. You saw me navigating, so it won't just automatically decide for you. You have to tell it where you want it to go. All right, so that is perfect. I am on my 9x14 hoop. The design is 8.5 by 14 and just over 14. So I've got a little bit of space in between. My machine's not on, or I would send it to my machine. If you don't have a machine that is Wi-Fi ready, you can save it to a USB stick and bring the USB stick over to your machine. Super easy, and we're ready for our 2 blocks today. And my shirt today, this is a fun one. I just made it a couple days ago. The funny thing is, it's been sitting in my drawer forever, like years. So I made the design with the rhinestones ages ago, like years and years and years ago. And then it sat there because I knew it needed something. It was just this like blank that it wasn't enough. And so I always knew that I wanted to add something to it. So I finally did it. I put Ride Like a Girl, and look at this font. Isn't this so fun? I love this. It's got like a little sketch design inside of the wording and then an outside stitch. And the funny thing is you, for some reason, it didn't come up on Embrilliance where I could separate it and do all of the inside stitching and then all of the outside stitching. So I had to sit there and keep forwarding on my machine. I don't know why it didn't separate the two. It's got to be something with the digitizing. But anyway, really cute design. I don't recall off the top of my head who did this font, but I will add information underneath this video. And like I said, the rhinestones, that was like, I created a template. This was years ago. I don't even remember how I did it, but it was pretty fun. So nice shirt. The shirt is from Amazon years ago. If I find it on Amazon, I'll add a link to it. It's a really good shirt. It's one of those that has pockets or holes for your thumb, and then it's got a hoodie. It's a really good design. I like it. It definitely runs small because I think this one is a large, if I recall. I'm not a large person on top, so it definitely must run small. So just a warning on that. But anyway, cute shirt. I'm happy that I finally got it out of my drawer. That's pretty exciting. And how are you doing with your goal? Oh my goodness. So I have to tell you, I wanted Halloween candy pretty bad. We had a bunch of trick-or-treaters come, and I was giving out candy, and I've got this big bowl of yummy candy that I really wanted, and I did so good I didn't have one single piece. How is that for dedication? I was like, I'm not gonna do it, I'm not gonna do it. And so when I got on the scale the next morning, I was like praying, please let it have been beneficial to stay away from all that candy. And I lost 1.4 pounds in one day. Like, that's crazy. I did my workout, I drank all my water, I got my sleep, I did all the things to make that work, but my body doesn't really respond very well to all the things that I'm doing. So that was really exciting. I was like, wow, I was so excited about that. So that was really cool. So I am keeping up on all my workouts. I've worked out every day for a very, very long time. I don't remember exactly how long, but a couple weeks at least. And we're working out hard. My husband and I, we go to the gym and we wear this heart rate monitor that tells you exactly how many calories you've burned. And my daughter and I got her involved in it too. And now my son too, he's not doing this part, but my daughter and I are on MyNet Diary. And I think it's called MyNet Diary. And it's an app that allows you to input all of your food. You can scan the little barcode. It's like super easy to know exactly how many calories you've had in a day, what your macros are, like how much protein you had, how much carbs, all of the things that help you to be successful. Right? Information is always key. Information is a good thing. So I've been doing that, and I've been working it really hard, and I'm actually in smaller jeans today. I'm pretty excited about it. So it's going well. I've lost a total of 8 pounds, which is not very much over like 72 days or something like that. I've been doing this for a long time, but that's because that's me personally. That's me not having a thyroid and my that cancer blocker pill I'm on and being older. And so whatever, I'm doing the work. That's all that matters, is I'm doing all of the things I'm supposed to be doing and staying away from Halloween candy. So I'm very happy with that. I also have been making other projects in between working on our projects, and I'm having fun. I'm doing really good with working my goal. So I want to hear about your goal. Give me an update. If you haven't given me an update in a while, I want to hear about it. I love it when in our Cristin Creates group on Facebook, people share their photo when they complete the project for that day, and they tell me what they did toward their goal. So I love hearing about that. That always makes me so happy. So check in. How are you doing? Hold yourself accountable. I want to hear about it.